When we are brought to this earth, we have a mission. Everyone has a mission. People drive themselves crazy trying to find it, but it comes to you. It's in your being. And sometimes people have to travel many, many years before they'll realize that they've been that way all the time. They just didn't recognize it or didn't know how to. They had been exercising it without being totally conscious. And so we were sent a messenger, and we call him in English the Peacemaker. And he came, and he brought a message of peace. And the power in the message was only words, the teachings that compelled these people to believe and take up the way of peace.
When he first gathered the chiefs together on Oglala Lake, which is not far from here, this great lake at this time, he gathered all the leaders together, and then that's when the instructions began.
So he would watch from the bush until he could discern who was the most powerful man in this village, this settlement, who was the one most feared, or who was the most evil and fearsome man here. And that is the one he approached when he found out who that was. And there's an illustration in every step of the stories as they are told. Illustrations of how we should live and how things can be if you follow the peaceful path. The message that he was bringing was a message that was going to bring about these people who didn't know what it was anymore for a person to die naturally. Everybody just died from being killed by another human.
No one knows exactly how long ago, but at least 1,000 years, and probably more, but at least 1,000 years ago, this Peacemaker brought this message to our people. Because we were in warfare, we were fighting, it was a terrible time. You kill, I kill, you kill, I kill, you kill, I kill. And he came at that time when we were in that kind of position, when the leaders were the strongest, not necessarily the wisest. When it was the strength that was in charge and in command, and the women and children were frightened of their own men. They would not be even in the same house. They would run and hide because it was so fierce. And it was at that time this Peacemaker, this messenger, brought us this message of the great law, the great peace is what it amounts to.
And so the message that he was bringing was a respect for life and thanksgiving for life and living things. And so these men who were so feared by everyone, they enjoyed that life that they were living. And so it was not totally their vision that they should turn into such a peaceful person, that no one would be afraid of them anymore. Finally, he accepted totally the message of peace. And so because he had been such a powerful person, to appease him, he was given that very special seat at the head of the council that was now being formed. And he was going to be named the firekeeper of all these other councils who now became one.
And this was after he gave all the instructions on how to counsel. He gave the power and the authority and the responsibility to the different groups. He said the men would be responsible for the council to use their good minds now. Instead of fighting, they would now use reason and law. Law would be the basis, and you'll use your mind and you will not fight. And you will sit in council, and he said, we'll call this the council of the good minds. And then he said that the women who are fundamental to life and female as we all look around and we talk about the seed. Well, this is the female again, you know, you see down here. This is her work. Her work. I mean, without it, we all have seed. We're seed at one time, ourselves. Comes from the two, the partner, the male and the female. Everything you see here is in twos. Nothing is by itself. Nothing can move by itself. This is his instruction. And so the female carries life. She is fundamentally important. Without that female, there is no life. None. Ever. Anywhere.
And so that is the story of how the peacemaker, the message of peace that the peacemaker brought to the people, was able to convert these people into a peaceful society. And that's when the structure of all this leadership, this chieftainship, began.
And we've been doing our best to continue that, and here I stand today as a member of the council that he set up so long ago with the same principles, the same mandates, but certainly in a different time and a different place. No less and probably more responsibility. And we look about for allies, we look about for friends, we look about for people who will understand and agree with those mandates of peace. And that is what we're talking about today, because that is the mandates for life. One of the other instructions that we were given is that we are now placing in your hands all life. And it is your responsibility and it is your duty to look after all life. And so when he was speaking like that, he wasn't talking about our aunts and our uncles and our cousins and our fathers and our mothers. He was talking about all life. He was talking about the trees. He was talking about the fish, the animals, everything that grows, everything with life. Because it is a family. We are a family, all life. Our brothers and our sisters to the west of us, called the Lakota people, have a way of finishing their prayer, their thanksgiving, and they say, all my relations. And when they say all my relations, that is precisely what they're talking about. They're talking about all life. When we traveled and we talked with the Aboriginal people from Australia, they talked about the two laws. And when we questioned them about the two laws, they were talking about all life.
We give thanks for all of these every time we meet together, no matter how many or how few the Thanksgiving address is given. It's an acknowledgement of the rest of living things in the creation. And it's a thanksgiving and our way of paying great respect for all of the rest of the creation, which we are only a part of this great big design for living. And if any one of the other components were to fall out from that cycle, there would be a great imbalance, and eventually it would collapse. It would be gone. We, as mankind, are the only ones who do not give to the rest of the cycle. For the rest of the cycle is constantly giving and giving and giving. And we are constantly taking and taking and taking so that we might have life.
Peace is it's an everyday fight. It's something that goes on all the time. You know, we believe that ourselves are one half the negative, one half the positive, and it's the balance that's important all the time, to keep the balance.